Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Here we are again, staying in, cozy by the fire. And yeah, nice to be with you all again. We hope you've been reading Bhagavatam, following along.
Canto 3, Chapter 20, Text 35. Chapters entitled Conversation between Maitreya and Vidura.
And we might finish this chapter today. Let's see. You know, if she starts talking, then we be on first text.
Om Namo
Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 35. Whosoever you may be, O beautiful girl, we are fortunate being able to see you. While playing with a ball, you have agitated the mind of all onlookers.
Can you remind us of what's going on here?
Yes, this is the darkness. This is the previous mentality or consciousness that Lord Brahma shed, and it turned into twilight and darkness, and then the demons see it as a voluptuous woman, and now she's playing with a ball and they're getting really agitated.
Just for those of you who are kind of first tuning in, we will find this periodically throughout the Bhagavatam.
What?
Ladies playing with balls. Don't know what it is back in Vedic times, but they seem to be bouncing balls.
This chapter's long. I don't know why you said we'd finish it.
Because mine says there's only 14 pages
Not
left.
on your Nelly.
Not what?
Okay. Not on your Nelly. Text, right, purport. Demons arrange many kinds of performances to see the glaring beauty of a beautiful woman. Here it is stated that they saw the girl playing with a ball. Sometimes a demoniac arranged for so-called sports like tennis with the opposite sex. Oh dear. The purpose of such sporting is to see the bodily construction of the beautiful girl and enjoy a subtle sex mentality. This demoniac sex mentality of material enjoyment is sometimes encouraged by so-called yogis who encourage the public to enjoy sex life in different varieties and at the same time advertise that if one meditates on a certain manufactured mantra, one can become God within 6 months.
Good deal.
The public wants to be cheated, and Krishna therefore creates such cheaters to misrepresent and delude. These so-called yogis are actually enjoyers of the world garbed as yogis. Bhagavad Gita, however, recommends that if one wants to enjoy life, then it cannot be with these gross senses. A patient is advised by the experienced physician to refrain from ordinary enjoyment while in the diseased condition. A diseased person cannot enjoy anything. He has to restrain his enjoyment in order to get rid of the disease. Similarly, our material condition is a diseased condition. If one wants to enjoy real sense enjoyment, then one must get free of the entanglement of material existence. In spiritual life, we can enjoy sense enjoyment which has no end. The difference between material and spiritual enjoyment is that material enjoyment is limited. Even if a man engages in material sex enjoyment, he cannot enjoy it for long. But when the sex enjoyment is given up, then one can enter spiritual life, which is unending. In the Bhagavatam, it is stated that Brahma Sukyam, spiritual happiness, is Ananta, unending. Foolish creatures are enamored by the beauty of matter and think that the enjoyment it offers is real, but actually that is not real enjoyment.
Interesting. Any thoughts?
This point that was made earlier, the purpose of such sporting is to see bodily construction of the beautiful girl. It's interesting because in the Olympics,
It was the volleyball, wasn't it? Is that what you're talking about?
No.
Okay.
No. So in the Olympics recently, a lot of and I don't mean say the more like say Asian countries and that, but actually more Western countries, the ladies said, we're not wearing these, because if you notice, women just wear what looks like underwear when they're running or sports, and the slimmest or shortest of top. And they said, now we're not doing, why do we need to run wearing like this? And they started wearing full jogging bottoms, tight but full, or half at least, but not like as if they're just wearing like a bikini bottom or like whatever like that. And they realized, they were like, this is showing us off in a way we don't need to. We're athletes. Why do we need to dress like this? And it was interesting, and it started people thinking. This was just recently. This is the recent ones that have gone, and they said, we're not doing this, and they put their foot down.
Okay, wonderful.
So it was interesting, because then it made me think, well, why are you dressed like that? Next to nothing. Why?
Yeah.
You don't normally see them running around like that when people are just doing their training and job. It's true, isn't it?
Yeah, I like this. Excuse me, this point also. The public wants to be cheated, and Krishna therefore creates such cheaters to misrepresent and delude. Reminds me of, when Prabhupada says that Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Thakur says that this world is a place of cheaters and the cheated, and he tells that story, which some of you may know about the sadhus in Radhakund and the ladies who want to have a baby or child with the sadhu. So they go to Radhakund to try to allure the sadhu to engage with her so that they can have a sadhu baby. And so they're kind of going there to cheat, And so there are unscrupulous men who know that these ladies go there to cheat, so they go to Radhakund and pretend to be sadhus. And so the ladies go there to cheat the sadhus, but the men are already there pretending to be sadhus, and they cheat the ladies. And so Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would say, so there you have it. This is the nature of the material world, the cheaters and the cheated. So like that.
So true.
So, but also, of course, then the whole point is about, as Prabhupada will often say, that the highest level of sense gratification, or Bhagavatam says, in the material world is sex life. And being able to become free from this desire to enjoy connects us with, in order to be able to become free from it, we have to connect with a higher taste. Param drishtva navartate, as Bhagavad Gita says. So when we can connect with that higher taste, then we can give up the lower tastes, and that's freedom. That's real freedom. People often, I remember when I used to do book distribution, you say, oh, I'm a monk. And they'd be like, a monk? You mean you don't? And I'd be like, yeah. And they're like, oh man, I couldn't do that. You don't drink, you don't smoke, you don't party, you don't do the, so many things. And they say, oh, you don't have any freedom. But they don't realize that they're just being pulled around by the modes of material nature to try to do these things to enjoy. So they think that's freedom, but actually it's control of the modes of material nature. And real freedom is the right to make a choice, a genuine choice, to not do those things and still be happy, kind of thing. Anyway, I'll stop now. Text 36. O beautiful woman, when you strike the bouncing ball against the ground with your hand again and again, your lotus feet do not stay in one place. Oppressed by the weight of your full-grown breasts, your waist becomes fatigued, and your clear vision grows dull, as it were. Okay? Pray braid your comely hair. Okay, this is like a mixture of kind of English and Old English, I think. Purport. The demons observe beautiful gestures in women's and the woman's every step. Here they praise her full-grown breasts, her scattered hair, and her movements in stepping forward and backward while playing with the ball. In every step they enjoy her womanly beauty, and while they enjoy her beauty, their minds become agitated by sex desire. As moths at night surround a fire and are killed, so the demons become victims of the movements of the ball-like breasts of a beautiful woman. The scattered hair of a beautiful woman also afflicts the heart of a lusty demon. Thus, pray braid your comely hair. Means because her hair, I guess, wasn't braided, it was out and flowing, then they're saying, oh, please braid your hair because it's attracting me so much. So so this is welcome to the material world. This is the driving force of the material energy. Any advertisement you see, everything, it just uses that strong impulse for sex desire and sex attraction to try to allure us and draw us in, so like that.
Yeah.
So let's not be like the moths at night that surround the fire.
Text 37. The Asuras, clouded in their understanding, took the evening twilight to be a beautiful woman showing herself in her alluring form, and they seized her. Purport. The Asuras are described here as mudadiya, meaning that they are captivated by ignorance just like the ass. Their demons were captivated by the false glaring beauty of this material form, and thus they embraced her.
I thought Prabhupada was going to tell about the, when they say like an ass, because the idea is that the male ass, he goes after the she ass. The male donkey goes after the she donkey, and she basically, for the purpose of enjoyment, and she kicks him really hard right in the face with her hind legs, and he goes, yeah, and then he's like, okay, anyway, and then he goes back again, and she keeps kicking him, but he keeps coming back, and eventually, just to try to get some pleasure. So I think that's what Prabhupada was referring to. What do you think?
Yeah.
Okay. Text 38. With a laugh full of deep significance, the worshipful Brahma then evolved by his own loveliness, which seemed to enjoy itself by itself, the hosts of Gandharvas and Apsaras. I'm just going to read that again just to try to grasp it. So with a laugh full of deep significance, the worshipful Brahma then evolved by his own loveliness, which seemed to enjoy itself by itself, the hosts of Gandharvas and Apsaras. So he laughed, and then he created the Gandharvas and the Apsaras from his own loveliness, which seemed to enjoy itself by itself. It's an interesting phrase. Purport. The musicians in the upper planetary systems are called Gandharvas, and the dancing girls are called Apsaras. After being attacked by the demons and evolving a form of a beautiful woman in the twilight, Brahma next created Gandharvas and Apsaras. Music and dancing employed in sense gratification are to be accepted as demoniac. There's a lot of demoniac things going on here, so I think we need to really, because this term demoniac, I know when I hear it, I think all fangs and, like
Satan.
Yeah, Satan, but
Damien.
Damien. Yeah, so, demoniac means like demons, like scaly, fangy, blood-sucking, kind of thing. But I think we need to grasp this concept that a demoniac tendency simply means that it's an inclination or a mentality that is against the theistic or a godly kind of mentality or consciousness. So, in this situation, music and dancing employed in sense gratification are to be accepted as demoniac. But the same music and dancing, when employed in glorifying the Supreme Lord as kirtan, are transcendental, and they bring about a life completely fit for spiritual enjoyment. So there you go. Excuse me. So
it's not that anything's bad or forbidden, it's the consciousness with which we engage in it with.
Yeah. ultimately. Because everything's been created by God anyway. Everything is God's energy. Everything is ultimately manifesting from Krishna. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate yati matva bhajanti mam buddha bhava samavitaha. So those who understand that, they engage with all their love in the service of Krishna. So yukta vairagya, we engage Krishna's energy back in the service of Krishna. Like when you go to Ganga, you offer Ganga to the Ganga. So in the same way, we're trying to engage and be in the right consciousness. But in the absence of understanding our eternal relationship with Krishna, we try to enjoy, as Prabhupada would say, the kingdom of God without God. So we try to enjoy God's opulences and God's splendor without God, because we want to become God. Like that verse earlier said, you can get a mantra and in 6 months you can become God. Okay.
Text 39. After that, Brahma gave up that shining and beloved form of moonlight. Vishva, Vasu and other Gandharvas gladly took possessions of it. Text 40. The glorious Brahma next evolved from his sloths to ghosts and fiends, but he closed his eyes when he saw them stand naked with their hair scattered. He's not creating very good things, is he?
Well, everything has to be created, I guess, is the thing. And it says from his sloth, so
his laziness.
Yeah, so evidently, all things are present. So he had sloth. So from that sloth came these things.
Purport. Ghosts and mischievous. All right. What do you want to say?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, please.
No, go ahead.
Oh, now he's going to yawn. Sloth. Purport. Ghosts and mischievous hobgoblins are also the creation of Brahma. They are not false. All of them are meant for putting the conditioned soul into various miseries. They are understood to be the creation of Brahma under the direction of the Supreme Lord.
So they're created also under the direction of the Supreme Lord. 8,400,000 species of life. What I was going to say is that, because now we just accept it, but I remember when I was younger and used to see programs on TV talking about this haunted house or someone who saw a ghost, and you'd be like, oh, do you think ghosts exist? Of course, we shouldn't talk about them. The idea is you don't discuss them because it can attract them. But, like that.
More like this. Touch wood, tulsi bees.
So, but the idea is that clearly, in Krishna consciousness, according to Bhagavat philosophy and Vedic culture, they definitely exist.
Let's move on.
No question about it.
Last one.
What was that? Oh my God. What's that? Next one you said.
Last one.
Last one for today. So we're not going to finish the chapter today.
No, what a surprise.
Okay. Text 41. It's Bhagavatam's talking about it, not me.
Just read the verse.
The ghosts and the goblins, hobgoblins, took possession of the body thrown off in the form of yawning by Brahma. That's why I just yawned.
Oh, God. That's a genuine yawn.
So is mine. You're supposed to do that. I remember seeing that. That prevents the unembodied living entities from entering. So thrown off in the form of yawning by Brahma, the creator of the living entities. This is also known as the sleep which causes drooling. So that's another time when they hang around when you're sleeping.
Like Homer Simpson. He drools.
Hey, Marge. The hobgoblins and ghosts attack men who are impure, and their attack is spoken of as insanity. Let's see if the purport explains, otherwise we can discuss a little bit.
No, we're out of time.
Oh my God. Purport. The disease of insanity or being haunted by ghosts takes place in an unclean state of existence. Here it is clearly stated that when a man is fast asleep and saliva flows from his mouth and he remains unclean, ghosts then take advantage of his unclean state and haunt his body. In other words, those who drool while sleeping are considered unclean and are subject to be haunted by ghosts or to go insane.
Oh dear.
Yes, so better make sure you don't like slobber all over yourself in your sleep. But the idea of this is you see sometimes, at least we definitely see in London, people who are obviously kind of, living on the streets and living very unclean and, difficult lives. And you see they sometimes walk around like talking to themselves, and sometimes even like shouting, "Who are you? Why are you bothering me?" And you think maybe they were shouting at someone, but then you see they're just in their own world, and people actually do become possessed and or ghostly haunted, and that kind of makes them seem insane or drives them insane like that.
Very sad.
It is indeed. It is indeed. Okay, so I guess we'll finish there. Any closing words?
Sorry, I'm a bit tired.
Yeah, okay.
The heat from the fire.
Yeah, the heat from the fire, mate. Okay, so...
Alright, everyone. Wrap up warm because it's getting very cold outside these days.
Sure is.
So stay warm.
All
Bask
right.
in the warmth of the Srimad Bhagavatam.
Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. Hare Krishna.